Okay, first we'll complete pending topics. So these topics we completed required setups, but we could not see the results. So we'll just go with the same once again in this environment. Okay. So data access set already we discussed setups and the same we did in the instance. We'll go and do the same. So first we have to create the data access set, then we'll go and create the new user and we'll assign one or two roles to this user. Finally, we have to provide that data access set access to the specific user role. We'll run the LDAP and we'll test it. To test that, this is a case we taken as a example. So we have three balance and segment values. We'll set read and write to 2000 and 3000. For 1000, we'll provide read only access. We'll just go and do it now. So first we have to create the data access set. Within the data access set, this is how we have to set the privileges. Search for data access set. So manage data access sets. Just click on go to task icon. Say create. Name is Cloud INC data access set. And here you can select access set type as a primary balance and segment values. And select our chart of accounts. Cloud INC. Accounting calendar is Cloud INC accounting calendar. Done. Now go to access set assignments. Select our primary ledger. Cloud INC USA primary ledger. Now how we want to set the security. For 1000 read only, 2000, 3000 read and write. So in the previous instance, this is not working. Okay, even we don't see all these options when you are defining it. There was some issue in this in that environment. Okay, so now we don't want to set for all balance and segment values same privileges. For 1000 read only, 2000, 3000 read and write. So uncheck this checkbox and select 1000. Say single value and select that single value. The single value is 1000. For 1000 read only permissions and just click on add. Select our ledger uncheck. Select as a single value. Two thousand. For 2000 read and write. Right, so read and write. Just click on add. For balance segment value 3000, we want to set read and write privileges. Uncheck, select single value, select segment value as a 3000. Okay, same privileges, say save and close. So we create a data access set. Now to test this functionality, we'll go and create the separate user called as Cloud Data Access Set, DAS. Go to Security Console. Go to Users. Say Create User. Cloud INC Data Access Set. Fine. We created a user. Now we have to assign the GL roles. Assign one or two GL roles to this user so that we can assign the same data access to those roles. Say General, Accountant, and Accounting Manager. Okay. Say save and close. Now we have to provide the data access for those two roles. Okay, we're just done with this. Now you can go to the task called as data access for users that we can do from the project or from the search page. Go to implementation project. Task is data access for users. So manage data access for users. Just click on go to task icon. So click on create. We created a user as a Cloud INC DAS data access set. Cloud INC DAS. Just tab out system will fetch if that user is exists. That selected. So general accountant data access set. So Cloud INC data access set. So we assign data access to two roles. This will go and submit the LDAP job for the role synchronization. Schedule processes. Schedule new process. Just say okay. Submit. Okay. So now we'll log into the instance as a Cloud INC data access user, and we'll just verify how that user has access to different balance and segment values. Fine. So just sign out from the current user. The username we given as a Cloud INC data access set. Now go to journals. Okay. Say create journal. So we set read only for 1000, 2000, 3000 read and write. Now if you go to account code combination, if you look at companies, you don't see company 1000. The reason you have read only access. Read only access means if transactions are available with the company 1000, you can find those transactions and you can see. Apart from that, we cannot perform any transactions with that company. You can record any transactions with 2000 or 3000. This is how just we set data access set. Okay. But in case of EBS, if you compare with EBS, same setups. But when you go to the invoice creation uh, window or any other in any other page where we can have access to the balance segment value, system will display the balance and segment value. But when you select, it says it is not valid. Okay, you don't have access to this account. That's how system will give the message irrespective of segment value. It gives a message you don't have access to this account. But here in the fusion, since no access to record the transactions, no use of giving that value for a display, that is the reason they completely just the completely the display also they are not provisioning. So that's how we have the setups and process same, but there you can see the value and you select, it will give you the message here. Anyway, user cannot when user is if a user is not able to record the transactions and even the system is going to display no use. So that is the reason they are not displaying also. So this is what just we tried in the other instance and we could not do. Now here we can see the same. Okay. So that's all about data access set. The next topic is security rule. Okay, already we performed setups, but we could not see the results and we stuck with the setup because of the instance issue. Now we'll go and complete the same setups. Create cross validation rules and deploy accounting flex field, and we'll test by creating the journal. We discussed, say we have three companies and multiple departments, and we'll go on to define the cross validation rule called as if company is 1000, department 3000 is invalid. Fine. So you can sign out from this user. So in this environment, I created user called as Cloud INC user. Okay, first we have to create the cross validation rules. So search for the task called as cross validation rules. So manage cross validation rules. Click on go to task icon. So we want to create cross validation rules for the segment values which are part of which chart of accounts. Cloud INC. Because I loaded all this information to rapid implementation spreadsheet. That is the reason this is our system is taking the name. Just you click on create. The rule is if company is 1000, department 3000 should be invalid. Say CVR1, same condition. So enable it. Now you can go to this filter option. Here if condition. Talking about company. If company is equal to 1000, same issue here. Yes, I'm entering directly. Okay, if company is equal to 1000, department should not be 3000. Department does not equal to 3000. And what message system has to show? Okay, a wrong code combination or invalid code combination. And you should enable it. Okay, fine. Say save and close. Define the condition. If company is 1000, department 3000 is invalid. The error message is wrong code combination. If you are going to select this combination, that message system will display. Now, after creating, system will update the accounting flex field as edited. We have to go and do submit accounting flex field for redeployment. So go to chart of account structures. Accounting. Say deploy flex field. Here you can see edited status. Okay, the deployment process is completed. Just say okay. Okay, we can see deployment status is deployed. Now, what we'll do is better we can sign out and sign out once, and we'll sign in. Then we'll go and test it. Okay, so even just we deployed, but everything will get synchronized. The update system will take, and accordingly, user will have access. The best thing what we can do is just now we created. First time we are going to just work on the journal creation process after creating the cross validation rules. Better we can sign out and sign in. You know, right? This cross validation rules are applicable at chart of account structure level, not to any user or anything else. So any user is going to have access to same chart of accounts. The rules will be applicable. So go to journals. Go to task list. Say create journal. Fine. So the names are not mandatory, right? Let system take. We'll just directly go to accounting code combination. So select company, say 1000, department, say 1000. Select any one of the account because we didn't set any rule on the account. We specified the condition between company and department only. Now if I say okay, system should accept. Yes, accepting. So what is the condition we return? If company is 1000, department is 3000 is invalid. Now I'll go and select department as a 3000. If the cross validation rule is enforced in the system, it should not work. If you say OK, it won't accept. So in the background, the screen is moving. If you click on OK, you can see some action. If you scroll little up, you can see the message. This combination is invalid by default. System is showing, and what are the message we written, that is system showing here. Wrong code combination. Of course, you may write over there. By default, system is showing this combination is invalid. Instead of writing wrong code combination, you may write with the company 1000, department 3000 is invalid. More declaration that you can describe it. So, with any other department, system will allow us to create the code combination. Yes, it should accept. Only with the company 1000 and department 3000, system won't accept since we created the rule. Okay, fine. Just we'll go on to disable that rule. Anyway, we tested. Now we don't require this. Okay, you may go on to disable it, or else you can leave as this. I'm just going to cover this point. The reason is, after disabling also, you have to follow the same process. You have to go on to deploy the flex field, accounting flex field. You can give the to date. We didn't specify from date also. You may specify from date when you create. So instead of going disabling and all, you can give the to date so that the definition will remain as it is. But from that time onwards, system won't use it for any. Uh, it won't enforce it. It won't work in this environment. You can give the to date or else uncheck. Says save and close. Any changes you do against the cross validation rules, you may change the text description or whatever. You have to go and do submit chart of account structure for redeployment. I mean to say entire accounting flex field. So above we have the same task. Just click on go to task icon. Okay, accounting key flex field. See the status. The deployment status is edited. Any change you do against the chart of cross validation rules, system will update the status to deployed. Until unless you perform the deployment, the changes, what changes you did accordingly, system won't respond. Now, if you don't deploy and if you try to create code combination by selecting company 1000, department 3000, system says it is invalid only because you did modifications but you didn't submit. Okay, for deployment. So submit for deployment. Okay, the status is deployed here. We can see. 1 second. Okay, done. Now if you're going to create any journal, the cross validation rules will not be applicable. Okay, done. Anyway, we disable the same. We have to update in the process. For that we have to just submit for redeployment. Done. So that's all about cross validation rules, which we could not do in the previous environment. Okay, done. This pending concept also is completed. The next one is ledger set. Okay, so ledger set, when you talk about ledger set also we just completed setups, but we could not see the results. Now we'll go and do repeat the same. Now we have to create one more ledger with the same calendar and
Did
chart of accounts. Sorry.
Lakshman, did we do security rules? Did it work with security rules?
Yeah, SR we could test it, right? We did it.
Okay.
SR was work.
Maybe I missed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was there in the last session recording video. You can see that. Yeah.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Fine. So that's what. Just cross. First we secure will just we done that. Yes. There was no issue with that. So ledger set. We have to create the another ledger. So to create the ledger set, we know like the two ledgers of two or multiple ledgers of calendar and chart of account should be same. And we'll create the first we'll create new ledger, then we'll create the ledger set, we'll create separate user to provision the access to that user, and we'll do that. We'll just assign the role, and this very common, very routine task which you perform for any user or role assignment, etc. We'll go and perform that. First we have to create one more ledger. Say primary ledgers. So manage primary ledgers. Just click on go to task icon. Now we have a ledger called as Cloud Inc. USA primary ledger. We'll create another ledger by naming Cloud Inc. UAE primary ledger. So this is our chart of accounts. Calendar is Cloud Inc. Currency. So AED. Fine. Anyway, just for testing within the GL accounting method, you may ignore. So save and close. Now we have to specify the ledger options for this ledger, right? That we can do from our project. Here we have a task called as specify ledger options. So select UAE primary ledger. Select UAE primary ledger, then say save and close. Okay, just provide returned earnings account code combination. Okay, select return earnings account. Say okay. Say save and close. So as a part of ledger creation, we have to submit that ledger for just to submit to, for completion as well as to submit to a space database, which we call as review and submit accounting configuration, that we have to perform. Review and submit accounting configuration. UAE primary ledger is selected in the scope, so you can proceed by clicking on go to task icon. Say submit. Fine. So we created one more primary ledger with the same calendar and chart of accounts. So now by grouping those two ledgers, we'll create the ledger set. Search for the task called as ledger sets. So manage ledger sets. Just click on go to task icon. Say create. So name we can give as Cloud IMC, or say yes. We can use Cloud IMC because we are using for everything same name. So Cloud IMC ledger set. Chart of accounts is Cloud IMC. Accounting calendar is Cloud IMC. Now select ledgers into this ledger set. So the same calendar and chart of accounts, we have only two ledgers. Those we can take into ledger set. So UAE primary ledger and USA primary ledger. Okay. So when this user is any user is going to record the transactions who has access to this Cloud IMC ledger set, out of these two, one if you want to set as default, you can select here. Right? That we know even in EBS also we have as this. So I'm selecting default ledger out of these two is USA primary ledger. Say save and close. Done. So we created ledger set. Now we'll create the user called as Cloud IMC LS ledger set. Fine. Go to security console. Go to user part. Say create user. Cloud IMC LS ledger set. Cloud IMC LS. Sorry, like it isn't all if you don't require it. Just we need GL access, right? I'm sorry, just I was adding all this. Okay, we can go with a general accountant role. If you want to assign accounting manager also, yes, we can do it. One would be enough to test this. If you want to assign more than one, you can assign. Accordingly, we have to associate that ledger set to these respective roles. Done. Just we assign two roles. Set password. Once again. Fine. Say save and close. We created a user and we assigned the GL roles. Just two roles we assigned. Now we have to associate that ledger set to these user related roles, which we call as provide data access for users. Just go to implementation project. The task name is data access for users. So manage data access for users. Just click on go to task icon. Just click on create. Username is cloud inc LedgerSet ls. We associated two roles. Select first one. Security contest is data access set. We know very well, even if you create ledger set, automatically system creates data access set for ledger set also. For every definition, it could be primary, secondary reporting, or ledger set system will create data access set with the same name. So cloud inc ledger set. And we have one more role which is associated with the same user. We'll map the ledger set to that role also. So general accounting manager, security contest is data access set. Fine, say done. So after any data mapping with any role, we have to submit the LDAP job. Fine. Hope the synchronization will happen. So we're done with that. Now we'll just we'll log into the application as a Cloud INC LS user. Just sign out from this current user. So with this, yeah, Cloud INC LS. So first we'll go and open the other ledger periods. If periods are not open, that ledger you cannot see within the journal creation page. So here, this user has access to LedgerSet. Here itself you can see those two ledgers. This will go and open the periods. So based on this, by looking at this point, we can understand this user has access to two ledgers. But anyway, we'll go to journal creation page and we'll see from there also. And say open target period. The target period is August 18. Say open. Okay, done. Now we can go to journal creation page. You can expand. Go to journals. Say create journal. So this user has access to Cloud ANC ledger set. Within that we have a two ledgers. So those two ledgers you can see. Now this user can create the transactions to any one of the ledger. That is the concept of ledger set, right? Since we set USA primary ledger as default, that system is defaulting. That's all. Okay. So I guess we're done with that. Fine. So the next topic is we'll go with the reporting ledger. Okay. So it's all about just automatically system will create the ledger based on the currency which you provide. When you look at the setups remain same like how we just do in the EBS case. The similar way just we have to do it. Just will go and perform the setups.
Lakshman, just one question. I am not aware of what is the benefit of having the reporting ledger?
Okay.
Just a high level.
Yeah. That's same point. So budgets we discussed and we tried, but we just failed to continue from here since we have issue with that instance. So that we'll discuss later. Now I am giving this point. Okay. So reporting ledger. So it's very simple. You are recording the transactions in your primary ledger. The same transactions, if you need in the different currency, you can use the reporting ledger. That's all. Reporting ledger. Okay, to report your primary ledger transactions in different currency, you can use the reporting ledger. Reporting ledger will be created by system. Okay, we cannot create through manual process. But when system is going to create the reporting ledger, same calendar and chart of account it takes from the primary ledger. We have to create the reporting ledger against the primary ledger only. So if I create the transactions in primary ledger in dollars, if this need to be reported in INR, that in those scenarios you can use it. Okay, if only current you have a transactions in primary ledger, you have to report. You have to send the same each and every transaction to. You have to report each and every transaction just in the different currency. Use reporting ledger. You want to report not only currency, chart of accounts also. You want to chart of accounts are different when you are going to report to some internally for some other entity or whatever you call. So in that case we use secondary ledger. Only currency difference is we use reporting ledger. Other than currency, any other component is different in terms of reporting requirements to report the primary ledger data. In that case we use secondary ledger. Hope this point is clear. If you have any questions, please.
So the question is, after creating reporting ledger, we can able to see the data in the front end by choosing it.
So you create the actual transactions in primary ledger. Automatic.
Correct.
Whenever you post that journals, automatically system will transfer to reporting ledger.
Okay.
We can see that. We can go on.
Oh, that's what.
Ledger.
We can able to see. That's
No,
my question. Okay. Thank you.
the same we'll
Thanks.
do in our class. Yeah, fine. Fine. We'll see what are the setups required. First, we have to create reporting ledger. Create reporting ledger. So we have all the transactions in dollars because our primary ledger is USA primary ledger. So we'll be recording all the transaction dollars. Say we want to report all those transactions in rupees. So we'll create the reporting ledger by selecting the currency, reporting currency as a INR. So to have a access to this reporting ledger by default, which user has access to primary ledger, that user can have access to reporting ledger, right? By default. So that's how they given functionality. But just to give access to reporting ledger, we'll create the user. Create user who can have access to reporting ledger. We'll give the username also reporting. And for that user, roles need to be assigned. GL roles, which roles will allow the user to have access to any ledger, but in the current scenario, reporting ledger. Say assign GL roles to reporting user. So one or two roles we can assign. After that, for those roles, we have to assign reporting ledger. Okay. To assign reporting ledger to the reporting user roles, we have to perform the task called as data access. Say provide data access for user. So for reporting user, we'll assign the reporting ledger access for the roles which we are going to assign. Okay. So after doing this task, the data object can be anything. We have to run LDAP. Run LDAP job. Fine. So after that, so just we can just there will be connectivity between the primary ledger, reporting ledger. Users are different. Now, before you go and create the transactions, you have to make sure that the rates are defined. So define daily rates. When you have a transaction USD, that has to be reported to reporting ledger in reporting currency. So between our ledger currency and reporting currency, we have to set the daily rates. And when you post the journal in primary ledger, that goes to reporting ledger, we have to make sure that reporting ledger periods are open. Say open periods in reporting ledger. Done. Once we are ready with these setups, we can test this by passing the journal in primary ledger. We'll go and create journal in primary ledger. When you say primary ledger, we'll create journal in USD, right? And we have to post it. The post event only will trigger the process of transferring this journal entry, converting balances in from USD to INR and transferring to reporting ledger. Posting. If you don't post, it won't be reported to reporting ledger from primary, right? So once you post it, we can go on to find journal in reporting ledger in INR currency. Okay, we'll go and test it. Create reporting ledger. Go to our project. We create reporting ledger against the primary ledger only, because from primary only we do the reporting. Cloud INC user. Go to implementation project. Search for reporting currencies. Reporting currencies can be used for reporting ledger purpose or translation purpose. For any definitions we can use. So just click on manage reporting currencies. So now we want to create the reporting ledger against which primary ledger. That primary ledger should be selected in the scope. So here is the task. Manage reporting currencies. If I click on go to task icon, system will allow us to create the reporting ledger against this primary ledger. But we want to create the reporting ledger against USA primary ledger. So before you go and click on go to task icon, you select your ledger. Cloud INC USA primary ledger. Okay, so Cloud INC USA, this value you have to select. So now it is showing the name as Cloud INC USA primary ledger. Now once again I'll just repeat this. We change a scope, automatically it is taking us to reporting currencies page. And basically once that is selected, you have to click on go to task icon. So against Cloud INC USA primary ledger, we want to create the reporting ledger. Okay, against this primary ledger, when you create the reporting ledger, system will use the same chart of calendar and do same chart of accounts, and just only will be selecting the reporting currency as a INR. Just click on create. So just you can give the name, even the just what we are creating, that is a reporting currency, but ultimately this name only system will take for reporting ledger name. So better you can give the name itself, Cloud INC reporting ledger. Yes, this name it will use for ledger name. So currency conversion level, since it's a reporting ledger purpose, select journal. So each and every journal would be reported. Fine. you want to write description, you can write. Now here you can specify our primary ledger transactions we want to report in which currency. So we want to report in INR. So it's just set default currency conversion rate type, select as a corporate, the same we will define. Okay, done. Now you can say save, undo, close. So now system will, based on this information, system will create the reporting ledger. For that, this name only it will use. So save and close. What is the next step? We create a reporting ledger. Now we have to create the separate user to give the access to only reporting ledger. So go to security console. Go to users.
Lakshman, sorry to ask you this question, but why we need to have set up every time user for every ledger? Why can't, let's say I want you, if you are the person,
No, no,
you want to access
one
to
point,
the
one
reporting
point.
ledger.
No, no, one point. I am just taking this example based on the reality how we do in the businesses. See, I have a user called as Cloud INC user.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
this user has access to primary ledger. Now, if you create reporting ledger you are creating against this primary ledger. Since this user has
Correct.
access to primary ledger, this user will get access to reporting ledger also automatically. But reality, this user will create the transactions, the data goes to reporting ledger. The people who are going to have access, who wants to see the reporting ledger data, generally will give the access to only that. That is the reason I'm going to create the user called as Cloud INC, or just user called as reporting. So reality what happens is this reporting user will have access to reporting ledger. If you take example, the same example, as per this, the business takes place, transactions will be recorded in US, the reporting ledger access is required for the user who is working in India. Do you provide access to this user? This user access you will give to India user? No, right? This user is used by US because the primary ledger belongs to US. Who need access to only reporting ledger? India user. So this user will be used by India user as per our example. That should have access to only reporting ledger, not to primary ledger. Even this user can see what they'll be creating, and when they create the any transaction, any journal, how that would be reflecting in the reporting ledger, that can be accessed by this user also. This user will have access to this too. But what is our target? Reporting and giving the access to them to see the data. That will give to separate user only. That's how reality will work.
Okay, Lakshman.
Yeah, fine. So username is reporting. Okay, you can assign one or two roles to this user. So the role is general accounting manager. So So when I set password, automatically system is changing. So that is the reason again I'm just re-entering. Fine. Oh, this user is exist. Cloud INC reporting. So save and close. Username is Cloud INC reporting. Now we have to give the data access to this user. Related roles. Which data access? Reporting ledger access. Right? So roles we assigned, we have to provide the data access for user roles. So task is data access for users. So manage data access for users. Say create. Cloud IMC reporting. We associated two roles. Security contest is data access set only. Ledger name is Cloud IMC reporting. This is how we given a name, right? When we are setting up reporting currency. Just say save and close. Just we may submit LDAP job. Also directly we can proceed. Better we can submit and we'll proceed. If any synchronization is required, meantime system will perform. Just say okay and okay. Just click on submit.
So Lakshman, if we don't have the daily rates at the time of posting, then certainly the posting process will error out, or what will happen?
Yeah, you cannot post your primary ledger journal also. Okay,
Okay,
you cannot
thanks.
because you are linking, right? You are just mapping. This process should trigger that. That is the reason. Say no daily rates. In that case, if system is allowing you to post, the posting activity only will trigger converting these transaction amounts into that currency and to transferring to reporting ledger. So that is the reason system will hold this posting within the primary ledger also. Based on this, that has to be triggered and the process should happen. If daily rates are not available, it shows the error message saying that rates are not available. That's all.
Thanks. Yeah.
These and all we have same as it is in EBS. In EBS also same process, but their roles and all we don't have. It's all we manage with the responsibilities. Fine. Fine. Just will proceed to next step. We're done up to here. We'll go and define the daily rates. So daily rates you can do from the project or else from the GL side also. Go to period close. Go to task list. Say manage currency rates. It will take us to daily rates creation page. Go to daily rates. Say create in spreadsheet. Say OK. Say connect. Oh, user right. Skip this version related issue. So USD to INR. So rate type is corporate. From date and to date. August 17, 18. Same date you can take as a to date also. Because we'll create journals and we'll test today itself. So conversion rate, so $1 equal to 70 INR. Inverse rate it will create 1 rupee equal to how much dollars. Okay, how many it will create. So say submit. Say okay. Okay. Okay, rates are created. This already we done multiple times when you are working on payables and other applications. Now the next task is open periods in reporting ledger. To open the periods in reporting ledger, we'll log into. You can access the reporting ledger from this current user also. Okay, but we'll just access reporting ledger from reporting user only. Just click on reporting task, period close task, and this user has access to Cloud INC reporting ledger. And the status is never opened. Click on the status and say yes to open the first period. Okay, target period is current period. Okay, now all setups are ready. So now if you create any journal within the primary ledger, that would trigger, the posting event will trigger the transferring the journal from primary to reporting in reporting currency. Okay, so we're done with all the setups. Now we'll go and create the journal in primary ledger. That could be manual journal or imported journal, whatever the journal you once you post it, it will transfer to reporting ledger. Or else you can just connect to the instance from different browsers to different users and stuff. Sign out, sign in, and all this. Cloud IMC user. So go to journals, click on general accounting, journals. Go to journals task, create journal. Now if you use any category you can select, it's just for identification purpose. Use any one of the expense, any account, no issues. We are not going to look into which account type is that. Just we have to create one journal. That is our target. Say $10,000 enter credit line just for testing. No issues. You may use the same account for debit credit. Now save this journal. Complete and post it. Okay, your system is processing. Meantime, we'll switch to the user. By the time this posting process will be completed, and we'll be able to find the journal in reporting ledger from the reporting user. Let's go to journals. go to manage journals. Just search for the journals with the current period. Now here we can find the journal which is coming from primary ledger. You can just open this journal and you can see converted balances in rupees. In journal creation time, we entered everything in dollars. That would be reported in reporting currency. Okay, this $10,000 are equal to 7 lakhs. So this is the actual entered currency. This is accounted currency. Reported. Okay. So this is all about reporting ledger.
Like Lakshman, in US user logging in, so we can go to logging in and find out the secondary ledger. All we need to go and just
What
specify
is the
check.
secondary ledger?
No. I mean to say reporting ledger.
Yes, reporting ledger.
How can I navigate through that one?
What you want to navigate, you have access to reporting ledger only, right?
No, not from this user. On the other one.
So other ones, see, well, however you are able to access other ledgers in the same way.
It's the same way. Okay,
Yes,
that's what I just wanted. Yeah.
if you go to field called as ledger, there you can find the reporting also. There is no separate navigation. Even if you
Okay.
want to search the information which is available in the reporting ledger,
Yeah, because why I am asking in our EBS R12, we can see all the ledgers on the top, on the bottom. When you open the ledger, and it will show corresponding down the reporting ledger, corresponding to that primary ledger.
yes,
So,
same applicable here. Same. If you have
okay.
access to one primary ledger which is reporting to 10 reporting ledgers, you no need to give additional privileges, right? Automatically
Mm.
system will have. If you have a secondary ledger, you have to give access. But reporting ledger directly connected.
Oh, it will show when we go to primary ledger
Yes,
directly.
yes. If you
Okay.
have access to primary ledger, automatically will have
Mm.
access to reporting ledger. If you don't need access, then you have to create the custom data access set.
Okay.
Okay. You know data access set how to create, right? Same.
Yes.
In data access set, you have to select only report primary ledger. Then if you assign to your user, which is created by you, in that case, reporting ledgers won't be displayed. But system created data access set, if you are using for your primary ledger, automatically all the reporting ledgers will be visible.
In that case, it will be a full ledger access, correct?
Which case?
Yeah, when you are saying using the default data access set for my primary ledger,
Default means
I am give
full, see two cases
default
will
full
be there.
ledger.
One system creation full it will create. Whatever we create, how we want we create. But when system creates, automatically you will get access to all the reporting ledgers which are associated with the primary ledger. But when you are creating, you can take the decision. Along with this, only you need access to primary, only give that name. Along with that, out of 10 reporting, how many reporting you require access, that you can decide. When we create, that is our decision. When system creates, how that works, that functionality. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Thank you.
fine. So that's all about reporting. This is also pending, right? In that environment, it's not working. Okay, just we'll look at secondary ledger also. It won't take much time. Just will complete without taking much time. Hardly 10 minutes. Okay, we'll just finish and we can wind up for today. Because we got too much of delay with the different instance issues. So that is the reason now everything is going cool. Instead of stopping, just at least we'll go with this topic. Okay. So same process, same logic, just here also will apply, but only the point here we have to understand, if only currency is different, we are using reporting ledger. Say we have a reporting requirement. We have a three segments in our primary ledger. As per reporting, only two segments are required, or else different way of accounting convention you need for reporting. In that case, you can use the reporting ledger. So currency only the difference means reporting. Other than this, any other component is going to be different in terms of reporting. We can use the secondary ledger, almost a similar configuration process. Only the additional step is we'll create the separate uh, what we could say like secondary chart of accounts. We'll create the separate chart of accounts to understand how this would have a reporting, how it is different from reporting ledger. Reporting ledger only currency. Here currency along with the currency you can have a chart of account can be different, or else without currency only chart of currency may be same, but you want to represent very few segments of data for reporting. So here I'll take the simple example to understand this. Say we have a three segments within our primary ledger chart of accounts. So reporting requirement is they want to get the data as it is in the same currency, okay, but they need data for only two segments. But here we have a three, but when we are working in the project, we'll have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 also. So if you are going to have more than 10, nobody will call as a best practice. Okay, it will cause many performance issues. So say client has 7 segments, they want to report only 2 segments data for some internal purpose, internal managerial reporting purpose, from some other purposes. In that case, we have to go with the secondary ledger. So here what we'll do is we'll create chart of accounts for secondary ledger. So we'll create with just 2 segments. We want to report only 2 segments. Reason, 2 segments are mandatory, right? When you create chart of accounts, company and account. That means balancing and natural account. So by using this chart of account, we'll create secondary ledger. Create secondary ledger. After creating secondary ledger, we'll go with the same process. Okay, specify ledger options. Okay, specify ledger options, and we have to do the mapping between this primary and secondary ledger chart of accounts. Say map primary and secondary ledger chart of accounts. We have seen in the reporting ledger case we didn't map anything because we use it same. If you use same, then only you can go with a reporting ledger. But here, since we are going to have, we have to do the mapping, how data should sync between the segments of primary and the secondary ledger. After that, we have to create the mapping between the primary and the secondary ledgers also. Say map, just you can call create mapping between primary ledger and secondary ledger. In short, I am writing. After that, we'll create the separate user, which user require access to secondary ledger data. By default, this user cannot have access until unless role level that is provisioned. So say create user. Just to give the secondary ledger access, we'll create the separate user. We'll name it as a cloud inc secondary, and we'll assign 1 or 2 roles to this user to have access to GL application. Say assign GL roles. Provide data access for user. Run LDAP job. Open period since secondary ledger. Because if you want to report, if you want to send the data, or directly if you want to create any transaction, we just go with the opening the periods, right? Okay. This reporting ledger or secondary ledger also will allow us to create the transaction, but the ledger's purpose is not that. It's always this should receive the data from other ledger only based on the purpose, but you should not create. If you are creating the data directly in the reporting or secondary ledger, there is no meaning in holding those ledgers. Okay, done. So after completing these simple setups, we'll create journal in primary ledger and we'll post it. That would be reflecting in the secondary ledger based on the chart of accounts how secondary ledger is going to have. The same we can code find. Say find journal in secondary ledger. Okay. So quickly we'll go and complete these setups. We'll go and create the chart of accounts for secondary. We will be using the same value sets and all. Yes, so that's how we have to use also same. Same value sets need to be used since we are reporting from here to there. So go to chart of accounts definition page. So first we'll go and verify we are using which value set for our account segment for existing chart of accounts. So this is we created to rapid implementation sheet. That means the name should be account cloud inc. Just will go and verify before we use the same. Select segment, click on edit. Here you can see the value set name. 1 second. Yes, account cloud inc. Okay, fine. The other one is company cloud inc. These are the two value sets which we used in this chart of accounts, which we are using in our primary ledger. By following the same, we have to create our own for secondary ledger. So now first we have to create the chart of account structure. Okay, go to manage structures. Say create. So cloud inc secondary. Okay, that means it's for secondary ledger purpose. Select delimiter and save. Add two segments. company. Same you can copy and use wherever it is required. So first segment display with say 30 characters. Column is first segment, segment 1. So here company cloud inc. Select and say OK. Now we have to assign the label. Since it's the company, select primary balancing label. So select. That means that would be assigned. Say save and close. We'll create one more segment, that is account. Create second segment in the chart of accounts. Don't use sequence as a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So that is don't getting system is turning into that representation as a bug. So better you can use 1, 2, 3 only. So select natural account segment label. Say save and close. Done. Now against this chart of account structure, we have to create instance. Without creating instance, we cannot use it, right? So the next step is instance creation. Just click on done. Just click on manage structure instances. Say create. Cloud INC secondary. Select structure name. So we given the name as cloud INC secondary. So system will default those two segments and we have to select as required. Click on edit. say required, and select company, click on edit, and select company segment also required in this instance. Say save and close. Now we are ready with the secondary ledger chart of accounts. We'll go and create the secondary ledger. Submit for deployment. Okay. So still it is taking time and all. Anyway, this task we completed. Next task is we have to create the secondary ledger. Also, meantime, what we'll do is we'll go and create the user. Okay, we'll create the user and we'll assign the at least roles. Once this is ready, we can proceed. So we'll just go and create the user for secondary ledger access. Okay, just assign one or two roles related to GL. So general accounting manager and general accountant. Okay, done. These two roles are enough. Just say save and close. We completed task called as user creation and role assignment. Now we'll go and verify what is the status. Okay, completed. Say done. Okay, now we have to create secondary ledger. So manage secondary ledgers. So that will be creating against primary ledger only. Okay. So manage secondary ledger. Secondary ledger you want to create against which primary ledger, that should be selected in the scope. Cloud INCUS means this is our system created through rapid implementation process, that we change the name to Cloud INCUSA primary ledger. Okay. Just click on go to task icon. Now we are going to create the secondary ledger against Cloud Inc USA primary ledger. You can see the same name, Cloud Inc USA primary ledger. Just say create. So this is our primary ledger. Against that we are creating secondary ledger. Cloud Inc secondary ledger. This is chart of account we created. So you can use the same accounting calendar. And if you want to report in the different currency, you can select different currency, or else the currency you can use the same. If you use the different, just you have to set up daily rates. That is additional step. Other than that, nothing else. Okay. So data conversion level, journal, and all is we can proceed with it. Say save and close. Done. Now we have to specify the ledger options for secondary ledger. So which is our secondary ledger, which is created against this primary ledger, we have to select. So this is the only one which we created. Okay. Now we can select returned earnings account. Okay, just select returned earnings account, because in the secondary ledger we have two segments only. The same we can see from here. So account is returned earnings. Say okay. Say save and close. We created secondary ledger and we specify ledger options. Now we have to do the chart of accounts mapping. After chart of accounts mapping, primary and secondary ledger mapping we have to do. Okay. So chart of accounts mapping we have to do. Search for chart of accounts mapping. Manage chart of accounts mapping. Say create. Cloud Inc primary ledger and secondary ledger COA mapping. Select target chart of accounts. Target chart of accounts are nothing but secondary ledger chart of accounts. Source chart of accounts. Primary ledger chart of accounts. Just do the mapping between these two segments, chart of account related segment. These are from target. So company and account data should flow from primary ledger of which segments? Just click on this field column. So here you can select copy value from source. You can select company data to company, account data to account. Same options, same as EBS, only same definition. If segments are not similar, we'll go with the account rules where we do the mapping between the accounts. As is they taken. So anyway, this once again we'll be doing in consolidation also, right? Same page we'll be using for secondary ledger as well as consolidation purpose also, where chart of accounts mapping is required. That says save and close. Now we have to map the ledgers. Just it's all about we'll be selecting the same definition at that ledger mapping level. We'll see that. Search for secondary ledger. This is not actual task, but in the same task list you can find the task. You go to manage secondary ledger. Here you can find the task which allows us to do the mapping between these two ledgers. Complete primary to secondary ledger mapping. Click on go to task icon. So already we created secondary ledger, the same page, and here you have to select the mapping. Just now we created, right, that you have to select here. This is all about completing the same chart of accounts mapping at this ledgers level. That's all. Say save and close. We created COM mapping that we used for ledgers mapping. Done. Now we have to provide the data access for this user. Already we created this user. For that user we assign two roles. For two roles we'll go and assign the secondary ledger. Okay, just search for the task called as data access for users. Manage data access for users. So cloud IMC secondary. So we are just mapping the secondary ledger to this user related roles. Say save and close. So done. We can just submit the LDAP job. Sorry. One second. Let me refresh this page. Okay, done. So now we can log into the instance as a Cloud INC secondary user, and we'll open the periods. You can open the second ledger periods from here also, but I just will go and do it from there, no issues. Go to period close. If the synchronization is already completed, it will open the page. Else we'll wait for some time. Yeah, it's opening. So Cloud INC secondary ledger access this user has. Click on the period status. Say OK to open. John as a first period. Say yes and say OK. So open current period as a target period. Okay. So we're done with all these tasks. Now we'll go to our primary ledger and we'll create the journal that should be reported to secondary ledger also. Already we have reporting ledger also mapped with our primary ledger. That means it would be reported to reporting ledger as well as secondary ledger, since two we have in place. So go to journals. Say create journal. Select any one of the category. Just I'm taking random accounts since these are not real transactions. Now this 20,000 goes to second ledger as a 20,000 only, but this conversion will be changed. This representation, it goes only company and account, not cost center as a department. You see that? Because that's how we did the segments mapping. That's how the reporting is required. That's what we discussed. So say save, complete, and post. Now you can sign out and log into the application as a Cloud INC secondary user. Go to journals, go to task list, and say manage journals. Search for the journals with the current period, the journal which is reported from primary to the secondary ledger that you can find. Just click on search. So reported. If you open and see that accounting code combination, okay, you can see only two segments data. In primary ledger we have three segments, but here two segments data only would get reported. So that's how we have a chart of accounts. We did map it. So this is how just you can just do the kind of secondary ledger related configuration. This is how the process works. Fine. Secondary ledger. Right done. So fine.